happened in the last few hours, yesterday or this morning. For once, I'm asking you to go in the past instead of staying in the present. It's your chance. Valentina, what's happening? Share something with us.
Yeah. Indeed, I'd like to share something which is for me, like an issue between the egoic self and the real self. So when I practice, I do. I'm in the practice, and I say, okay, I'm liberated from all the attachments, but then sometimes all of a sudden I feel that I don't want to be impermanent, and my ego tells me, get up from your chair, you need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm in doing things, often I'm reminded that I'm indeed impermanent.
Yes.
And my children at the moment, like I said last time, they're all in this dying death. And they tell me, when you will die, we will miss you. So, and then I realized I can't do much. I have to stay here in this present moment. But then all these attachments, you have to do, you have to perform, you have to be here, you have to be in your physical body as much as you can. So you have to show in the outward world. And I don't like it, but at the same time, I'm dragged into it. So, and this is a conflict for me. And I don't know how to explain, but it's an issue, because I tell myself, no, I'm not attached. I want to be not attached. Mm-hmm. And I have all these, I'm struggling with things that finish. They have an end. They have an end. I will have an end. And all this omnipotence will.
Yes. Yes. So you become aware of impermanence, that everything is impermanent, including this body. And but there is also a part of your maybe we could call it the spiritual ego that is saying, oh, don't be attached. Attachment is not good, right? That's why I was saying, be careful with the meditation ego, the meditator ego, because it will creep in from all corners. So maybe just to observe, what is this part that says I'm not attached, or I don't want to be attached? Because it's, again, another form of the same ego that is wearing a different clothes. Now it's wearing the spiritual clothes, right? And once you observe that, maybe you can go like, okay, being attached it's a fact. I am attached. It's the way it is, right? So we observe without judging, the choiceless awareness, right? So there is attachment. It's neither good nor bad. That should be our attitude without any labeling, but observing simply what is. And we also talked about that with emotions and with feelings. And in this case, I'm perceiving that you actually feel, you feel the attachment too, right? So, and we said with feelings and emotions, we actually want to acknowledge them and feel them and allow ourselves to feel them. So with attachment, I would recommend, why don't you, instead of going like, I'm not attached, you release that ego and you actually feel the attachment. You allow yourself, okay, I'm attached to my body. And if you enter into that thought, for example, that this body is impermanent and it will go, you know, what does that make you feel? What does it feel like? You know, and most likely you might, if you really dive into it, you might have a lot of sadness and tears coming, which is beautiful. You will have tears coming because you realize, wow, I love this body, you know? And then you realize the attachment, the root of that attachment might be simply love and appreciation for this physical form that is allowing you to experience life, you know, in this dimension. Beautiful. What's wrong with that? You know, it's natural. Just to be able to access that through the attachment, to access that kind of love that you have for this body, it's a beautiful thing, for example. So let's remove all negative judgment about what we experience, attachment, anger, sadness, anything that we, or the mind would judge as it's not okay, you know, because it's uncomfortable, or somewhere in the past, we put it in the wrong folder, you know, this is wrong to feel that way. It's wrong to feel depressed. It's wrong to feel anxiety. It's wrong to feel attachment. It's wrong to feel jealousy. It's wrong to feel anger. You know, just remove all that, because that is simply a conceptual folder that we created in our egoic mind, and it's nothing to do with reality. Nothing. Actually, it prevents us from experiencing reality. You know, there are filters that they don't allow, like in this case, there's a filter that says attachment is not okay. Somewhere at a certain point, you put it in that folder, attachment is not okay. And then what's happening? It's not allowing you to experience attachment, which is what is happening, right? So that's a clear example of how any label, any judgment in the way the mind has divided things in good and bad is preventing us from experiencing reality for what is. So, yeah. The mind is basically a collection of memories. That's what the egoic mind is. And the first day we did an exercise of watching the mind, how it moves between the past and future. Some minds are more future oriented, some are more past oriented. But the bottom line is, even a future oriented mind, it's still a past. It's based on past, because the very foundation of the egoic mind is memories. It's been created through memories, the ego. So then the ego, the mind projects into the future what he knows. And what he knows is just the memories that we have from the past. So the future that we imagine is a projection of the past. The mind cannot project something that doesn't know. The mind can only project what it knows, and what it knows comes from the past. So the roots, the very root, the very essence of the egoic mind is memories. And so even when we move into the future, we move into the future according to what the mind knows about the past. So it's very limited. So you would not allow any space for the new to happen, for example. Even in our imagination, we can only imagine what we already have experienced at a certain point, what we already know, what the mind already knows. So to release, a little bit at a time, any judgment, any preconceived ideas, anything that we see, okay, I imagine a future in this way, but only because that's all I know from the past. And going like, well, what if I don't even imagine, I let the future unfold out of this present moment, because that's actually what happens. Everything happens in this moment. There is only the present moment in reality. Everything else is either remembered in memories or imagined according to those memories. So even the imagination cannot be that open. It's very limited. So just becoming aware of this and releasing expectations and imagination about something that has not happened yet. And what we feel in this moment. Okay, in this moment I feel attachment, and I feel what does it mean? What is uncomfortable about attachment? So you go into it, start peeling the onion, close your eyes, go deep inside. Go deep into the attachment, and then you might feel like, well, there is pain there. Uh-huh. So attachment brings pain. Okay, that's why you don't want to feel it. And why there is pain? Well, there is pain because I'm going to lose something that I'm really care for or that I really love. Uh-huh. Good. Now keep going. And so on and so forth. We talked about this already, yeah? It's actually a very ancient technique, this one, yeah? In modern days, it has been used in psychoanalysis a little bit, in primal therapy, and blah, blah. But this is something that was already used 5,000 years ago. It's in the East, in the India, they call it pratiprasav, which is a technique that Patanjali used, and he was talking about it, who is the founder of yoga, and Sylvia would know his name very well. So pratiprasav is exactly this. It's like entering what I feel, any feeling, any emotion, attachment, anger, sadness, if they keep, especially if they keep coming back, and find the roots of that, go deep into it, allow yourself to feel it, and bring light to something that it's obvious there is many little wounds. We said how the ego is a collection of wounds as well. There are many little wounds that needs to see the light in order to heal. They need to come to the surface to have some fresh air and sunlight. And so we, through bringing our attention and allowing ourselves to feel that, we bring these things to the surface so that they can heal. And that's a beautiful thing. Because what created the wound in that moment when it happened, it might be yesterday, and it might be 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. But in the moment it happened, there was unconsciousness. And that's why the wound was created. There was not enough consciousness to be able to cope with that situation, So there was unconsciousness, and there was also something that we judge as not good or not pleasant, or something we didn't want to feel. There was a judgment there. The judgment created a separation between, this is good and this is bad, or this I want to feel and this I don't. And the mind got split, and in that split we created something that went into the subconscious, because we don't want to feel it, we don't want to see it, because it's wrong or because it's painful, whatever label we put on it. We didn't allow ourselves to experience it in that moment with consciousness, with presence. So it's there in the dark somewhere, waiting to be triggered, waiting to be experienced, waiting to be seen, waiting to be brought to the light again through our allowing our self to be present with that particular feeling. So yeah, that's a very important thing, what you brought up.
Mm. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
What else? Who wants to share something else? Yes, Marlik.
Yes, I have a wonderful experience with listen to the sounds. But when I try to listen about after the sounds, after the stars, to the silence, I don't know what is my state at that moment. For me, it's important to have a mix from present and the world and in myself, to have a connection 50-50%. And when I listen to the silence, I don't feel my body. It's more like liquid or light or air. And yes, it's a little bit strange for me.
Yeah.
I told you earlier, I have a long experience with Buddhistic meditation, and I've stopped with it 10 years ago. And sometimes I think I like to mix reality and meditation in a 50-50%. And when I listen to the silence, I think I'm more disconnected from the world.
Mm. Yes, what you're saying actually, it's you're more disconnected from the body because you can't feel the body as
Yes.
you usually do. Yeah.
Yes.
So this 50-50 that I was talking about, it's very useful when we practice mindfulness in everyday's actions and we relate to the world. When you move into your practice in your sitting meditation, for example, and you close your eyes, you go 100% in, not 50-50, not only 50, 100%. Yeah. And what's happening by listening to silence, for example, becoming aware of silence and tuning into that, you know, let's say the outer silence, for example, there are no sounds and you tune into the silence, then you start noticing also you become very silent inside. Or you might feel like the inner silence, the outer silence is also the inner silence, or is the inner silence that is perceiving the outer silence, or at a certain point everything will become liquid and you don't know what is inner and outer because it feels like it's the same silence. It's all one big silence suddenly. Mm-hmm. And then you might not start feeling the body like you usually do because you are moving into a deeper space that is even deeper than senses. So we use senses, the senses itself, in this case, hearing is connected to the body as well, to go to a deeper level than that even. Yeah, so we use silence, the perception of silence through the body. So we're using our form, body, the senses, also part of the form, part of the body, to access something that is formless, which is silence or space or whatever we want to call it. Mm-hmm. So we move through form to access the formless. So there's nothing strange that you might not start feeling your body anymore, or that the perception of the body will change. That suddenly you don't feel the body, you might just feel like a sense of silence. The silence might feel like space. It might feel like something that actually is expanding, that is very expansive, you know, beautiful. So allow that to happen. Don't just release the mind, release anything the mind says, oh, wait a second, where is the body? I don't feel the body anymore.
Yeah.
What, so what? No big deal. You're not going to die or anything, right? Explore what's happening. If you can remove all judgment, if you let the mind go, then you can really move deeply into that exploration. But if you stay with what you know, and wait a second, I know my body 50-50, wait a second, this is comfortable, or I don't know, that's bound to be there, because the mind doesn't like the unknown, because it has no control over it. Yeah. But those are the moments we have to release the mind, otherwise we can't go any deeper than that. It will keep us on the surface. So beautiful that you have this sensation and these experiences, and just let yourself dive into that, releasing all that you know, because truth, we don't know it. Otherwise we wouldn't be here talking about it. We need to just dive into what is unknown to the mind, which is much, much bigger than the little human mind. So we cannot access truth through the mind. There's no way, it's too vast of a space for the little mind to even conceive it. So mind has to be released in many ways when we move into practice and move 100% in. And see what happens. It's an unfolding experience, an unfolding discoveries. It's a beautiful adventure. Every time we sit, it can be a beautiful adventure.
I think I'm a little bit angry from that feeling. So it's a little
angry.
bit. Yes, I don't know.
About which feeling?
Correct it, or I can't do it, or so I don't know why.
You're a little angry about which feeling in particular?
The feeling from disconnection, or
the disconnection from the body?
Yes.
Angry? You think angry is the right thing? The right word? Or is it fear?
Yeah, oh, it's fear, yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, the mind is afraid of what doesn't know.
Yeah.
The mind freaks out when there is something suddenly that is completely unknown. It goes like red light, dee, 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 dee. Where are you going? Hey, don't leave me out here. I have nothing to do with it. It's all unknown. I have no control over this.
Yeah.
The mind needs to control. That's just part of its function, and it's useful in many situations in practical life, but not when we start diving into ourselves. In self-discovery, the mind is useless. It's just an hindrance. And in everyday life, it's needed, it needs to control things, and that's okay. It's needed. But not when we go in. When we go in, it has to be released. Otherwise, it filters everything. It holds us back.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Very nice. Yeah. Very important what you shared. Because we all experience it when we go deep inside. Sooner or later, we're all going to face that. We're all going to face a mind that goes like, whoa, don't go there. Wait. Your body's disappearing. What's happening? This is scary. Well, is it really? Just try. Go in. Is it scary, really? Or just an idea because the mind doesn't know that space and is projecting fear? Yeah. It's an adventure. How exciting, no? There's something we can explore, and there's something new that we don't know at all. How exciting is that? That's where we keep that awe, that enthusiasm and excitement for life, you know, because when we start realizing, my God, mind thinks that it knows it all, right? So you come to a certain age and you have collected so much memory, so much past, your mind is filled up with memories and with knowledge. And you think you know it all. But knowledge is not knowing. It's very different. True knowing comes from experiencing this moment. Knowledge comes from the past, from concept that we accumulated and put in that hard drive. Many, 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 many concepts. That's knowledge. Knowledge is useless. Actually, it's not only useless when you explore your true self, it's a hindrance because it gives you the illusion that you know, because you know so much, right? The mind knows so much, but it's all conceptual. The experiential knowing has nothing to do with knowledge. As a matter of fact, you have to release all knowledge if you want to know, because you're gonna explore spaces that are completely unknown to the mind. And they keep changing. It's in the present moment, it's a ever unfolding phenomenon. It's not even fixed. It's not that you know it once and that's it. It's always new. Every second is different. It's an ever flowing, changing, eternal present moment. That's what life is, if you let go of the mind. So you'll never actually know the present moment because it's always changing. But you can experience it. And the excitement and the beauty of it is that it keeps changing. It's always new. So it's a continuous exploration and a continuous experience, the present moment. And within that, when you're able to stay there, there comes the knowing that you know, that doesn't come out of knowledge, which is dead. It's memory. It comes out of experience of the present moment. Big difference. So one thing is knowing, one thing is knowledge. Knowledge is maybe useful in practical life to, you know, function in certain ways. But as far as the inner world, knowledge needs to be released. At least we need to let it go. It becomes a big hindrance. And knowledge includes everything we identified with, yeah? Like, I am Shastro, or I am this body, or I am a man, or I'm a woman. I'm a Christian, I'm a Hindu, or I'm spiritual, or not, I'm a meditator, or whatever, all that, all those labels, it's all part of the big knowledge folder. Can I just let it all go and dive in and experience directly experience what is happening in this moment? What is there? What is this space? What is this silence? What if I dive into this silence? What if I start feeling, my God, I feel like I'm disappearing? Good, let yourself disappear. What happens then? What is there when what you think it's you disappears? What is there? That's releasing our knowledge and moving into knowing, experiencing directly as knowing. So we want to be careful. That's why I'm asking you to practice when you're outside of these sessions too, like practice the anchors, because there's something that is taking you away from knowledge and into experiencing directly the present moment. Yeah. not a lot is going to happen by you listening at me or reading lots of spiritual books. You know, that is going to become knowledge again, but spiritual knowledge, but still knowledge. What you experience is the knowing that matters. That's where you want to go. It's the direct experience of the present moment. You can accumulate, you can listen to me for the next, 10 years speaking and feel like, oh, something is happening, but nothing is happening. You're just increasing your knowledge. Unless you apply whatever you learn, whatever insight you have, whatever anchors, whatever ways you have to become present, you have to apply that in every day, in every moment. Yeah, we cannot have a realization through the spiritual realization through the mind, through our knowledge. There's no way. It doesn't happen like that. It's a direct experience. That's why I'm asking you, practice your anchors, and then I want to hear what happened when you practiced that. Did you remember or not? Did you forget? What was that experience? Sabine yesterday said, yeah, or the day before, I was making coffee and then suddenly I was like, oh, what was it I had to remember? Wait a second. Oh, yeah, the weight of my body. Yeah, my feet on the ground. Yeah, I can feel them now. Oh, that feels good. Yeah. And then the breathing. Oh, yeah, I'm still breathing. Oh, that's good. That didn't stop. Oh, but now I'm aware of it. Aha, nice. And I'm making coffee, but I'm also feeling my weight. I'm also feeling the breath. And what does that make me feel like? And it's like, wow, I feel kind of empty. And I feel there's a sense of peace in that sense of emptiness, right? That's experiencing right there in that moment, while you make coffee. That's it. So simple. Bring that to every moment as much as you remember, Experience that moment. Don't think about it. Experience it, feel it, observe, sense.